like create table and the table name. So we want to store the data. So like a simple manner, like the customer ID, something like that. Customer like ID. So I'm just giving a name, the particular column customer ID. What kind of information we want to store? Like the customer ID should be numeric and should be like C001 or like 101. So actually now I'm taking a simple, only the numeric, and after some advanced class I will discuss some more things. Like I want to store in a integer. So integer actually is a data type. Now I want to store the name of the customer, like the customer name. The customer name I want to store in a character, and the pass the value like I can store up to 200 character. And the customer ID is a compulsory and it is a necessary. We cannot left them. So it is a not null. Not null means we cannot leave this particular record. And one more thing is like a address. I want to store only the three things, like the address. So the address is a big thing. So I want to store in a varchar format. So varchar is a very the size according to this one. So I want to provide the 500. So we can store up to 500. So it can be null. So it is a good thing. So you have to click on this one and click on this one. The table creates successfully. You can see here the table creates successfully. Now you want to see, sir, how we can see all these things. So here I am just ready a thing, a structure of the table to store the information of the customer. When you want to like perform some things, so you do not need to create all the existing structure because the company is already ready, the SQL formats and the data is also there. There is no requirement to create the tables and to ready all the basic structures. But if you want to fetch out the data to like delete, insert, update, further operation, so we should have a basic knowledge regarding the table and what is a database. Database is a collection of the table, and here I'm just creating a simple table like related to the customer. Like same in the Excel. In Excel, you want to store the information related to the customer, like customer ID, customer name, and the address. So in Excel, we can store the limited data. So that is the reason I'm just using this particular tool, the SQL, to store the information into the bulk, and the work is very speedily. So how we can do this? So firstly, we have to write a query, select star all column from customer. So customer is a table. You can execute them. Now, I want to start the theory part now. So it is a first example. You can see this one. So firstly, I have created our database. After creating this database, I'm using them means to active this database and create a table. This table I have created successfully. When the table creates successfully, I want to see the table. Where is the table to store the value? You can see customer ID, customer name, and the address. Now, I want to store the information into the this particular thing. So we have to write the query, but when you work with data in the particular company, there is no need to insert manually all this value because the data is come from any application, any third party application or any website. We should be able to perform any operation, and we should have a knowledge regarding the SQL. So that's the reason I'm starting from scratch, how we can ready our table, how we can perform all these things. So insert into customer, customer is a table and the values, and I want to store the number of the particular employee, like the customer number 1001, and like a James, and the address like a USA. So these are the information which I want to store here. Now click on this. You can see the information insert successfully, and now I can see here the use of these things, customer ID, something like that. Now I have
Okay.
created successfully the first practical of the MySQL. If you install, so you can also try with me. If you face any problem, so you can ask me. So it is a simple data like 10001 and the James and the USA. So it is a structured data which we are storing in a SQL. Like if someone want to store the data, so there is no need to fill all the values manually. So how we can store all the values? So I'm just taking a simple example. Now I want to store the theoretical part. Any query, any question?
Yes, I have a question because we say is SQL. You about talk about language about data.
Yeah,
Where is the data bring it?
yeah,
We should put the data here, link it with some any website to get
yeah,
this data
yeah.
or not.
Yeah, actually, the if I'm talking about some existing structure of the company, so the already environment there, like the some websites linked to the database there, the storing the data from website to here. So when the data is storing here, so if you want to analyze the data, so you have to run some queries to fetch the data from here to some other tools. If you want to fetch the data some limited like customers, like those customer like 1001 to 10010, you want to filter out them. If you want to change some information to the customer, not to the software, so you can change some information, like some company provide the admin panel of a website level. So these are the front end part which anyone can use, anyone. So the existing employee of the particular company, I'm talking about the behind the work, behind this particular website, what's going on.
Okay.
So behind this
But,
particular things, if the
mm,
data, so like that kind of things is going
I get it, but my questions now I created the SQL and download in my computers where I can find this data. This data I should put it in the SQL first
on.
so
Yeah,
I can create, or just when I'm say select a store from customer,
yeah,
I get the data. This
yeah,
is my questions
yeah,
because it's you should we have any anything you can put the data in
yeah,
SQL so we can make this practice. This is what I
yeah,
mean when because when I'm if I am download my SQL
yeah, yeah.
and try to do it the same, I don't get this table
Okay,
because I don't have the data already in
okay,
my computer or my SQL. This is what I'm asking.
okay. So actually we can also like embed your existing data to the SQL also.
Yes.
Yeah, we can also embed. I will also teach you in some advanced classes. So if you have
Okay.
some
Okay.
existing data and some other website, so you can also embed there, and after that you can also like perform some data manipulation tasks. Second, and upfront preparation, which means that a change in the structure would be both difficult and disruptive to your whole system. So by which we can do this, like NoSQL database has dynamic schema for unstructured, where there is a no structure. We can store the 3 value. Suddenly we want to store the 5 value and the 50 values, so we can store. Now the time is to store data in any formats. There is a no like a predefined performer. So the way, which means it can be document oriented. So it is a document oriented or a column oriented. So the good thing basically to store the information in a key values, like the C001 is a ID and the name of the C001 is a customer name like the James and the Abir, something like that. This flexibility means this document can be created without having defined structure. So there is no need to define the structure in a already. So also each document can have its own unique structure. The syntax varies from database to database. You can add field as you go. So I can give a like a differentiation just a minute by which you can understand all these things in a good manner, like the MongoDB.
Mongo.
So MongoDB is a good thing. Okay, I will also like provided the link which you can download and which you can perform later. So it is a very flexible as compared to the SQL. So one more thing, SQL database are vertically scalable. So the all information is stored in the column wise. That means that you can increase the single server by increasing things like the RAM, CPU, SSD. So if your computer has have a sound configuration, so you can perform this one because these tools are very lengthy, very complex. So database are horizontally scalable. This means that you handle more traffic by threading, adding more server, because some like a millions of user just store like creating the data, like generating the data from some other applications. So the in a backend level is storing here. But in your NoSQL database, it is similar to adding more floors to same building versus adding more buildings to the neighborhood. So NoSQL can ultimately become larger and more powerful, making this database the preferred choice for larger and ever changing datasets. So it depends on us which one we want to choose, or company like the SQL or the NoSQL. Like if the SQL we want to choose, we can choose the software, the MySQL and the Microsoft tool like the SQL Server. We can also use because some SQL software are existing in market. And if the company want to choose the NoSQL, so the NoSQL, there is a no schema, there is a no rule. We can store the data in any formats. So we can use some other tool like the MongoDB and something like that. So I will also teach you in some advanced class. So I have also discussed the difference between SQL and the NoSQL. So the SQL database are table based. On the other hand, NoSQL is not a table based. It's a key value pair or a document based or a graph database. So the SQL is basically is a relational database, better option for application that require multi-row transactions, accounting system for legacy system, and were built for relational structure. So these are like much better where we running the applications to store the data to perform some CRUD operations. But what is the property of follow SQL database follow ACID property? So what is the ACID? As atomicity, consistency, isolation, and the durability. Means all information should be atomic, should be consistent, means correct, and should be run in isolated the separately, and should be complete in a minimum duration. So whereas the NoSQL database follow by Brewer's cap theorem, consistency, availability, and partition tolerance. Now, what is the support of this one? So if like some developing team, some managing team, yeah, some data scientist team facing the challenges with the data, like there is no option, no helping on the net available, so how we can like support them? So support is also provided this particular company or this one. Like great support is available for all like SQL database from their vendors. So like if I am just taking the SQL software from the vendor, so vendor can support the help. So independent consultation are there who can help the SQL obviously. So large scale deployment, but some NoSQL database this one. So these are the theoretical things we can take like from the software, any like the MySQL, Oracle, the Microsoft. We can use the product of any company. And the NoSQL, if I'm talking about the NoSQL software, the database, just Redis, RavenDB, Cassandra, MongoDB, Bigtable, HashB, Neo4j, and the CouchDB. So MongoDB is like a very famous tool for the NoSQL. So these are the difference theoretically. Like SQL is a relational database management system, but NoSQL is a distributed database management. It is not that to link all the tables. It is a distributed database management. It is vertically scalable. We can scale the vertically. We can add the one column, two column, three column as per the requirement of the company. And it is a horizontally scalable. We can horizontally scalable like one record, two record, something like that. Fixed or predefined schema. We can in if I'm talking about the SQL, so we have a predefined schema, we have a predefined column, we can store them. But if I'm talking about NoSQL, there is a no schema, no rule. You can store the data as per your requirement. SQL not suitable for hierarchical data storage. Like if you want to store the hierarchical data, so this SQL is not suitable. But if I'm talking about the NoSQL, best suitable for the hierarchical data, like inside one data, inside the another data, so the data in a hierarchy format. So can be used for complex query. So we can use the complex query here in SQL, but the NoSQL not good for complex query. So it is not for the complex things. So that is the reason. So if I'm talking about the complex scenario, so the SQL is best. If I'm just talking about the like similar things, so the NoSQL is best. But the NoSQL is flexible, is a dynamic, and the SQL is not a flexible. It has some parameters, so we have to follow them, and we have to store the value as per the given and the predefined schema.
Yeah, I have questions about
Yeah,
SQL and non-SQL.
yeah,
SQL, I know it's relation database. Non-SQL is not relation database.
yeah,
Okay, I know SQL. It's SQL. You have table and column and row.
yeah.
And non-SQL, what we have it exactly?
Okay,
You
yeah,
have the same table and column and row, or what?
yeah. Okay, just a minute. I want to like actually we have a software like MongoDB Compass.
I'm sorry, I ask a lot, but I can't. I want to understand what the difference because I feel confused a little bit.
Not a problem. Actually, I have already installed the this one. So it just take a little bit time.
Okay.
So actually it is a MongoDB, and MongoDB is a NoSQL database software to handle the data, and it is an interface by which we can connect them. And we want to see the way and the structure to hold the unstructured data. Like for example, similar we have a table, or you can say that is it is a database, and it inside this actually we say it's a collection. So in SQL we say the table, but here the table we can say it is a collection. And we have a employee information. So we can see the employee information into this format, just fetching the data like in this format. So you can see it is a thing, last name, first name, the data which we are holding in a key and the value pair. And you can see is some other product information. So it is a C by which we can store the information, and suddenly we can add here the 5 value, 10 value, 20 value as per my need. And some other words like we have a student collections, some students are there. So suddenly we are just storing the information in this manner. So this data format that is called as a NoSQL format. It's a like a JSON format, or you can say the BSON data. So we can extend by the horizontally, but in a SQL you can maintain the vertically data. So these are the two things by which we can perform by the NoSQL. So if it is a salary of these things, particular the employees are these things. So you can see in the employee like we have a information, so we can change the value. Like there is no information, but suddenly we arise the two information. So you can add as per your need. Like suddenly we arise the email also. So we can add the 3 column. Suddenly we can add the 2 column. Suddenly we want to add the 40 column, 50 column. We can maintain as per your requirement. So these are the
So
flexibility.
So meaning we have two type of data. Data with the relation we handle with a SQL.
Yeah,
Data without relations we handle with non-SQL.
yeah,
So non-SQL we use this system like Mango database,
yeah,
and what it's actually, when we work we need to know about how we used two data, like uh, data with relation and non-relations.
yeah,
We need to use this tool together so we can make a big picture for our decisions. Yeah,
yeah.
this is what I understand. Understand right or wrong, I don't know. I'm
Okay.
just asking, this is what I understand.
Yeah,
So we have two type of data.
yeah.
This is what we need. Okay, I get it. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
actually, we have only the two kind of the data. Like first one is a structure, and the second one is a non-structure. Like the
Okay,
particular company just capturing the information from the any third app, like websites on any other problem. So the customer basically fill the informations in a right manner. So there is a no chance of the like the data duplicacies and something like that. So that the proper information like storing in a SQL. But if I'm talking about some like a e-commerce site, and some social platforms are there to store the information in any format, suddenly 3 value, 40 value, 20 value. So we want to give the flexibility. So in that particular situation, the MongoDB is much better, and the like very useful when the data in a hierarchical format. Like there is no pattern, because the trend is that like we cannot like particular force the particular users to store the information in the particular formats. So now the time is changed. We have to capture the information, and we have to analyze, we have to clean them, then the data is ready, then we can visualize them. So firstly we should have to understand what is the data.
I
And
think someone you need to talk.
yeah, the frame you
Another.
can mute yourself. Okay. Yeah. So the first question is that like firstly we have to understand the what is the data. and the different platforms of the data, which we have to understand. Then when we have a sound knowledge regarding the data, then we will analyze them. Like if suddenly we are just analyzing the data, we just visualizing the data, so it is not a good thing basically. So it is a MongoDB a no structure. So there is a no rule. No struct means no rule, and the SQL is a structure. So it's a rule. Like you can say the relational database management. If we have a thousands of column, sorry, thousands of table, so we can relation them, we can correlate each other, we can independent, you can say that. And in the NoSQL, the collections basically is a independent. You can say the salary is not depend on the employee is not depend on the exam is not depend on the some other collections. So there is a no relation of any collections. So it is a flexibility of the MongoDB.
Yeah, I get it. So it's meaning now it's if the data is not bigger, or we can use something like Mango,
Yeah,
or we can use Excel if not too much. But here we use Mango because it doesn't have relationship between the data. So
yeah,
we use Mango. If the data is relationship between many tables and a lot of huge data, we
yeah,
need to make relationship or find that good information. So we use it MySQL or
yeah,
SQL.
yeah.
Okay,
Good.
this is like this. Okay, I understand.
Very good, very good, very good. Okay, good.
Sir, sir, I have got a quick question.
Yeah,
So like in the practical life in the work area, so when we use like the SQL or like the non-SQL, it's depend upon the area where we work. They already have that software where we are working, or like we have to choose like which pattern we have to go.
yeah. Actually, to become the data scientist, we have to analyze the data. So the data can be in any source. The data can be in no structure format, and the data can be SQL. The data can be Google Sheet. The data can be CSV file, and the some data can be in some any platform. So the if I'm talking about the mostly the data into the two formats, the structured and the no structured. So the most of the company, if I'm just saying the 90%, so it can be good. So like the most of the company just using only the two things, like the structure and the no structure. That's like the SQL or the no SQL. So if we want to load the data and we want to perform some data related task, so we should have a sound knowledge regarding the like a SQL tool and the like no SQL tool. So you if we are just like capturing the information, like how we can do this operation, because there is a no like options like a drag and drop, like look took like as a Excel. In Excel we just have a formula, dex formula, or the like to like checking the and to sum, subtract, multiply, divides, etc. So it depend on the us and depend on the company. So like which kind of the software basically using. If the particular company using the MongoDB, so you like able, and you are sufficient knowledge to like perform the data related tasks with the MongoDB, and the particular company is using the SQL, so you should have a sound knowledge regarding the SQL. And you can see the particular company can use the different data sources also, because the company is very big, so can be use the multiple products. So in some area the company use the MongoDB, and in some area the company use the SQL. So it is the things.
Thank you, sir.
Well, so before the next class, so kindly install these particular things, and definitely you will learn all these things in a good manner, and I'll give them my best to like teach you all these things basically practically. Okay. So this course is like practically and very useful nowadays, and very interesting. So day by day you will learn the new things, and if you complete all the previous tasks which I have teach taught you in the lectures, so definitely you will like enjoy my class in some coming class also. So now it is a basic like a basic difference, the SQL and the NoSQL, which I have discussed. Like the introduction to the database and the RDBMS, which I have discussed earlier. Data is a value on which operation are performed by computer. It may be stored and transmitted in form of electrical signal. So data can be in any format. We can like capture in a electrical signal. If can be recorded on magnetic, optical or mechanical recording media, and a data can be fact related to any object, like a fact related to the customer. So what kind of information we can relate to the customer, like the name and the IDs which we want to give them, and the address and the products which we want to purchase, so something like that. For example, your name, age, height, weight, etc. are some data related to you. So what is database, which I have discussed earlier? So database is a container, has related data organized in a way that data accessing a managed. So it's a like a fuse basically, or a bulk of table. So you can say that in a simple word, is a collections of table. To so we can a company particular have a one and more database. So database is just a warehouse. So Wikipedia is a good example. Is a database is a systematic collection of data which support storage and manipulate of data. So Wikipedia just like storing the data and just like providing as per your query. Like take an example of the Google also. Like when you are searching the query and you are writing searching like the data science course, so the Google will give the results. So internally it's just a processing something like that. The Oracle. The database is an organized collection of structured information or data typically stored electronically in a computer system. So basically, if we want to capture the information in an organized manner, like name, roll number, salary, products, city, address, something like that. So in that situation, so we should have to use the SQL. So Oracle is an example of this. DBMS. Database management system. Database management system is a software which is used to store an information in any database. For example, like Oracle, MySQL, SQL Server of the Microsoft, etc. are the tools basically. It's a tool to store the information. Now, DBMS provide the information to perform the various operations like create, delete, and modification, etc. DBMS allow to user to create their database as per their requirement. Now, DBMS accept the request from application AMD provided specific data through the operating system. So, firstly, the operating should be there. Then after that, you can install the DBMS software like SQL, etc. DBMS contain the group of program and provide specific data which accounts. Okay. So class, I will also like want to provide you this particular things into the chat box, which you can practically the screenshot basically I want to provide you, which you can download them. So I have done all these things. So actually the screenshot is not provided. I want to provide the PDF file. So you are able to do this. Otherwise, you can also take the screenshot and you can also see this entire code into my recorded lecture. Any more questions?
Not right now.
Okay. So you able to like you can take the screenshot of the particular code and try to execute on your MySQL or Workbench.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and you, if you face any problem in to execute the particular code, so you can see my recorded lecture. And definitely I hope you will install successfully on your computer like the MySQL, and to try to execute all this query. And if you face any like problem, so I will also like recall all these things in a next class. So I think you should have to enough today. So any questions, any like, so you can ask me.
Thank you.
So start. Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I say thank you. No, nothing.
Okay.
No, I'm just asking, like, somehow, like, it's not downloading. Like, I mean, it's not supporting the SQL for my Mac. So I don't know which one we have to download so that like
Yeah,
it can
actually,
able to.
yeah. When you start to download of according to your Mac, so kindly check the version. Like if you are using the
Mhm.
Mac 86, so you can like see some suggestion on a Google, like to check your Mac version as per like this one. Check Mac OS ARM. If you are using Mac ARM or 86, firstly you have to check. So when you have checked successfully, so you have to download on the selected version. When you have download successfully, so you have to start something like that. Okay, you can also see your like presentation, some steps where you can install.
And break, I try to down the first one and the second one. It doesn't work for
Okay,
me. So I don't know why. Because maybe I have my SQL before. Because I'm also I have Mac Pro. It's the
okay,
same way. So
okay,
I try to down the first one. It doesn't work. I try to down the second one. It doesn't work.
it doesn't work.
I think like, yeah, I think like it did the same thing. Might be because of our version. The version for my Mac is like 12.4.
Okay,
I don't know. Might be it required like the 13 or 14 something for
yeah.
those one.
So
Yeah,
It's
the
just like
same.
like
14.
yeah, we can go down the version if the version is high. So you can download the Workbench Mac OS. The version name is Mac
Yeah.
12. Some you can spell out your version.
1 minute. Mac
Mac OS
OS.
12.4.
12.4.
Yes. So Mac OS 12.4.
Now the version is downward. It is same thing 8.36. So it is like a link by I will also share you how you can install the Workbench 8.0. Like when the app is successfully, you have to drag and drop into the applications. You can
This is
follow
easy,
the
but
links. Yeah,
yeah. But it's a give me before when I try download, you give me X and MySQL, this app before we put in application.
yeah.
So
So
it's yeah. Okay, let
so
me
I
try
want to
this one.
provide you this link into the chat box. So when you click on this one, so it will provide you when you like download this file. So you have to drag this AP file to the application simply. I'm just also
Pick
providing you the link into the chat box.
a picture. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so you can take the something like that, and you can follow the instruction by which you can ready. And it is a link which you can download. Again, when you have download, there is no need to install. Just copy, drag and drop into the applications. Okay, so I have also provided a link into the chat box which you can click, which you can save them, and I hope you will install successfully. If you face any problems, you can also discuss me in the next class or the support team. Okay. Any more questions?
No, that is only the problem right now.
Okay.
Hopefully, once it get downloaded, we will try, or we will at least try.
Okay.
If I have any problem, I can communication with anyone. You can help me to download.
Yeah.
Or
You
okay.
can also talk with the support team, and the support team will talk to you. And if you face any problem, okay.
Okay.
All right, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining the class. I will see you in the next class on the same time. Okay.
Okay. Thank
Yes, yes,
you.
Thank
tomorrow.
you very much.
See you
Good
tomorrow.
morning, sir.
Good morning.
Roger.
Okay. Same. Okay.
Bye bye. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Okay.
7:30. Yes.
Uh,
7:30. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay.